The Pacific Airshow is returning to the Gold Coast in 2024, like tomorrow. And I thought I'd ask the question, should you buy a ticket? Yes. Okay, let me explain. The Pacific Airshow is an American airshow that started in California in 2016. It's a 3-day event, and last year it was brought to the Gold Coast, which totally sold out. I went all 3 days because up until that point, this was the best photo I'd taken of a jet, and I was eager to improve, which wasn't going to be hard. The first thing I liked about entry was it gives you the closest view of the aircraft. A large part of the beach is fenced off, and it's right in front of this area that the aircraft plan to do their stunts. Of course, there's nothing stopping you from viewing the show from outside of this area, but for me, the best seats were up front. And speaking of the aircraft involved, I thought the variety was pretty good. There was something for everyone. And yes, I'm going to go through them all now. This is the Yak 110. It's a combination of 2 Yak 55s, a jet engine, and is the only one in the world. It was capable of some incredible maneuvers and was definitely one of the stars of the show. From the Royal Australian Air Force, we had the C-130J.
Royal Australian Air Force C-130J. The C-130J. Here comes your mighty C-130J.
An awesome display by 37 Squadron. But if you like them bigger and thicker, the C-17 from 36 Squadron's got you covered. A C-17 can lift more than 70 tons of cargo, which means you'd still need 2 of them to lift your... Next up was some beautiful formation flying by Red Bull World Champion Matt Hall and fellow aerobatic pilot Emma McDonald, both pilots also performing solo routines later in the day. Representing general aviation was the Freedom Formation, a single Yak 55 leading 13 Vans RV-7s. We're going to be here all day, so I'll put a link to the team in the description. Last year we were treated to the aircraft of Stephen Gale's Jetworks. Here is a 2-ship of L-39 Albatross, and here is a 2-ship of Marchetti S-211s. These jets were very elegant and a pleasure to watch. Tragically, Stephen was involved in a fatal accident last year, and I offer my condolences to friends and family. From the United States Marine Corps, we had an MV-22 Osprey of VMM 363. The Marines had no problem keeping everyone's attention as they showed off the capabilities of the tilt-rotor aircraft. A few weeks after the airshow, this aircraft was also involved in a fatal accident, and my heart goes out to the friends and family. Okay, let's lighten the mood up a bit, shall we? In this extra 330 is Hayden Pullen, former Australian V8 racer who made the most sensible decision to switch to stunt aerobatics, something that Hayden has taken to like a fish to water. This BAC Strike Master gave a graceful display. This is an Australian registered aircraft sporting a former Kuwaiti Air Force livery. The Westpac helicopter gave a quick tutorial on how to save someone's life. Race pilot Aaron Deliu showed us why he's Australian aerobatic champion in an extra 330. There was the Red Star Roulettes, a precision aerobatic team made up of 2 CJ6s and 2 Yak 52s, not to be confused with the RAF Roulettes, the Royal Australian Air Force's formation aerobatic team made up of 6 PC-21s. All the way from the frozen north came this Royal Canadian Air Force CC-150 Polaris, and from just a bit further south, the United States Air Force KC-135 refueling a C-17. This trio of pit specials make up the Screaming Diamonds, and their bright colours and tight flying made them a fan favourite. Crazy people from Gold Coast Skydive jumping out of a pipe at Navajo. This was a very special formation of a P-51 Mustang, P-40 Kitty Hawk, and Focke-Wulf 190, and what I intended to come and get a photo of, a RAF FA-18F Super Hornet. So yeah, the lineup was actually really good. It was actually a lot better than I remembered. Don't mind me, I'm just going to add a few more of these in for good measure. Each day there was about 4.5 hours of flying. I don't remember there being many breaks, if any. For adults to enter, the price is $50 a day, or $100 for all 3 days, which I think is fair for what you get, considering how much it would cost to go to another air show, or to go and see a touring band, or go to the footy, for example. And wow, that's a lot of green points. It's probably time to knock it down a peg. The atmosphere inside the gates was exciting, but I felt the music and commentary was overwhelming. It was quite relentless. Maybe I'm just getting old. I know AC/DC will be blasted, I know Top Gun will be on repeat, kids need to be entertained, and the atmosphere may be the point of difference for this show or something, but it seemed a little bit excessive. Commentator Matt Jolly was a professional, he's very knowledgeable and has a kind sense of humour. I imagine his style is very dialed into the American audience and he does his very best to adapt on the road. I couldn't commentate any better, but if I could say anything, it would be just a little bit less would be a lot more, only to allow the aviation nerds a few passes to hear the engines. I learnt a lot from the commentary, I loved hearing from the special guests, and the in-flight comms with the performers. Ideally, it would have been nice to have seen a few more international acts on the lineup. No complaints about the Aussie performers, it just turned out to be a very local air show. Kinda like if Knotfest toured without Slipknot and mainly Australian bands played. Here is the distribution from the performers of 2023. Last year there were promises of F-16 and C-5 to make an appearance, but they had to pull out last minute. This isn't really a complaint, as this is the nature of air shows. They're very complex and hard to plan in advance. However, I do think the advertising is a little bit too templated from the US version of the air show, which regularly features the Blue Angels and the US Thunderbirds. If these aircraft aren't coming to the show, I don't think they should be on the Australian website. If you know, you know, but it seems a bit misleading for the people that may not. But if they're coming and it's a surprise, then that's okay. Next, speaking as the little kid inside all of us, there could always be more jets. And I'll finish up by saying that the lineup for 2024 is very similar to the lineup for 2023. But when I do the math and you add in the Queensland firebombing demonstration, the Canberra Spitfire coming from 100 Squadron, the T-33 and P-8 coming from the United States, Australian F-35 doing a handling display, all of these maniacs, you take into account that I triple like the performance from last year, you carry the one, that means we'll have more jets, we'll have more guests. Think I can overlook these last three things because we've got 2 F-22s coming. Let's go. This is my best F-22 photo and I hope to get a better one. So yeah, if you're still there and you still don't have a ticket, fair play. Thank you very much for watching. I'd love to hear any thoughts you have on 2023 and 2024 if you end up going over the weekend. Feel free to send this to anyone that might be thinking about going, or to anyone that can't go, and rub it in their face. There are still tickets available as I upload this video, and I hope this air show continues and one day brings the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds to Australia. I think this air show is doing its best, and if Australia loves anything, it's people doing their best. And I know I just complained about how noisy the air show was, and I know no one asked, but in case anyone was wondering,
We'll run him at the door.